I never really did jiu-jitsu or never really even felt it on me. But it's not hard to figure out that, you know.
That's where he took me and Troy when we were little.
Yeah.
Over to Gustavo. Dante, what's his last name?
I don't remember. But
My first name was Gustavo, right?
I never did it.
He's from Brazil.
Yeah, I never did jiu-jitsu, so I didn't know anything about how it felt, how to apply it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had ideas, you know, but, you know, there's a lot of little technical shit that you don't realize that, yeah, maybe I didn't realize, but my job wasn't to fucking figure out what they were doing. It was to stop the fight when the guy taps out, you know, so it wasn't that. I just had to know when he might be tapping out. That was, so I got all those tapes from Sean, who's the matchmaker for the UFC, or he was. I don't know what he does now. But yeah. So then, that was pretty cool, dude. It was a good run. But nobody enforced the rules, you know, just dudes doing all kinds of shit. That's what I saw. And nobody enforcing this, nobody enforcing that. So, was I a little aggressive enforcing the rules? I don't think so. I think fucking rules are there to be followed, man. And fucking, you know, when you're doing Muay Thai, if you freaking break the rules by grabbing the ropes and kicking or whatever, or you kick the guy in the balls a couple times, you know?
Yeah. Well, any other stories?
Huh?
Any other stories?
No.
Or stories?
Lots of stories.
Huh? Yeah.
I was just talking to Mom about the other day. I did a show like off the strip, and you know, the commentators were famous martial artists of the time, you know, the guys that were on TV and shit. And one of them was Bill Superfoot Wallace, who was a really famous fighter dude. So, hey Bill, how's it going? Yeah, good, Steve, man. But that's about all I ever talked to him. So then me and Mom were getting in the truck. I had my big jacked up truck, and Bill comes walking out. I said, hey Bill, you need a ride somewhere? He says, yeah, man. Can you give me a ride to the Maxim? I said, sure. So I get all excited and say, scoot over, Bridge. This is Bill Wallace. So he gets in the truck and freaking, you know, he's older, quite a bit older than me. And we go to the Maxim, and we pull into the Maxim, and there's this real badass looking Avante. It's called an Avante. I said, holy shit, that's an Avante. You never see those kind of cars. Bill says, what? I said, it's Avante. And then the door opens up, and the guy gets out. He looks at me, comes walking over, puts his head in the window and says, I like your hair. I said, thanks. How you doing? He says, Evil Knievel. I said, yes, sir. How you doing, Evil? I'm Steve Mazzagatti. He says, yeah, you and your friends want to join me for dinner? I said, sure. I said, you good for Bill? He says, yeah. So we parked the truck and we went and had dinner with Evil Knievel. Yeah.
What year is that in?
Shoot, babe. Were the kids born? Huh?
I don't think so, no.
No, because I was reffing when the kids were born. I wasn't reffing before the kids were born.
Right, I know that.
Yeah, so we had dinner with Evil Knievel. And that was really fun. And then we're sitting there, and he's talking to me, and some guy comes up. He says, hey, Mr. Knievel, man, I've been trying to track you down for years. I got this book. I'm a jumper myself. His name was Nevada Bob. And he says, I'm going to be jumping Fremont Street here in the next couple months. And he says, but I got this book of all your jumps and stuff. So he said, well, sit down, let me see. And they started looking. He said, holy shit, you got pictures in here I ain't ever seen. So we're all looking at the pictures. And anyway, like, well, I won't bother you anymore. Thank you for giving me your time and you know, blah, blah, blah. So he leaves. And Evil looks over at me and says, "Don't you want to get your picture with me?" I said, yeah, I do. And I said, "Do you got that camera bridge?" And she pulls out the fucking, Insta camera. And I got a picture with Evil Knievel somewhere in my freaking shit. And Mom hooked Evil Knievel's girlfriend up with Bill Superfoot Wallace while all this was going down. Because he could really give a shit about the lady he was with, Evil Knievel.
Oh, what? It's not like his. What do you mean?
But I don't know if you know who Evil Knievel was. Do you?
I know.
In our day, he was like the biggest legend of all time, and probably still is in a lot of ways. But then, another time, me and Mom, I did a show at the Stardust. Actually, I think I refereed John Wayne Carr at that fight card. And so I really got to know John Wayne really good, and that's, then me and Mom were walking out, and we stopped at the bar for some reason, I don't know, get a soda or something. And a guy comes up and says, "Can I buy you guys a drink?" I said, "Yes, sure," or actually we sat down a little bit. He said, "How about I buy you guys a drink? Come sit over here." So me and Mom scooted a little closer to him, and we started talking. He goes like this, and the freaking bartender runs over there, and "How can I help you?" And we get our drinks, and we're sitting there, and we have a good conversation. He says, "You know who I am, right?" I said, "No, I don't know who he said." Well, actually, we entered. I said, "I'm Steve." He said, "I'm Mario." I said, "Hey, how you doing, sir? Thank you for the drinks." And we talked and talked and talked. He says, "You know who I am, right?" I said, "No, I don't. I don't know who you are." "I'm Mario Andretti." You know who Mario Andretti?
No,
He's like the most famous frickin' stock car racer, Indian Formula One racer, Indianapolis 500. He's a legend in racing. Anybody that does racing would know who Mario Andretti is. So I was like, holy shit, how do we meet Mario Andretti at a bar in Vegas? So we talked for a good 10, 15, 20 minutes. Really nice guy to us. But Mom met Arif when we were in Thailand. She just went out on her own. I don't know. I had to go to classes and shit, so she would hang out by herself, and I guess she went down and to where everybody eats, and she was looking around for interesting people, and she found the Indian team, and Arif. So Mom sat down, or I don't know how she got to know him, but they took off really good, and Mom said, "I got somebody I want you to meet." So I met him, and that's how we met Arif. And then, yeah, I got to hang out with a lot of really big legends, even the legends that I knew about at the time. Because actually I hadn't refereed Bronco Secatec, but when I was training fighters, the Churakai team from Holland came and trained with us at our gym, and I had my fighters spar with his fighters, and one of his fighters was Peter Arts, who is a real famous K1 fighter, and they had Bronco Secatec, who was another real famous fighter, and I got to meet Tom Harnick, who was a legend trainer, so I was really stoked about that, and we went and had dinner several times with Bob Chaney. And then during that tournament, I went and hung out with Bronco Secatec, but he was retired by then. That was pretty fun, but I was telling Mom, because Chuck Norris just passed away.
So, you ever meet him?
Yeah, I never hung out with him, but we knew each other. And one time first time I was like, I did K1, and I was walking through the audience. Hey Steve, how's it going? I look over, hey Chuck, how you doing? It's Chuck Norris. Holy shit. Hey Chuck, how you doing? I shook his hand. I said, man, awesome. I said, are these some good fights? He says, yeah, they are. His wife was there and I left. But then he started promoting, and he did this shit that was in kind of like that karate combat. He kind of developed karate combat. And so I worked for him then, and he said, man, I'm really glad to have you working my shows. And, I said, yeah, this is a great concept, Chuck. And so never really got to go out and eat dinner with him or nothing like that, but he knew who I was, which was frickin', was pretty flattering, regardless of any other bullshit. I think it's pretty flattering to just me, a little kid, not a little kid, but a nobody. And then I was at a UFC event, and I was walking to the back, and I look over, and there's this old man there, and I knew who it was. It was Gene LaBelle. And I'd heard so much about Gene LaBelle, he was like, even though I was surrounded by all these legends, Gene LaBelle was like something special to me. So I took the time to go out and said, hey Gene, how you doing, sir? I really respect you, and da-da-da-da. And then he started talking to me. He says, yeah, hey Steve, yeah, you did a good job tonight, blah, 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 da-da-da-da. And then he started talking to me about, yeah, man, dude, I wish you'd let me referee some of these fights too. And he's like pretty old already. I'm thinking, oh shit, And I said, well, man, let me talk to the commission, Gene. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
So then I went and talked to Ratner. I said, Mark, I frickin' ran into Gene LaBelle, and he said he'd be interested in judging, because we didn't really have any good judges at the time. He said, well, who's Gene LaBelle? I said, well, he's the frickin' godfather of MMA. And then Mark asked Big John, who Gene LaBelle? Yeah, he's a frickin' legit dude, man, and da-da-da-da-da. So then I got him a job judging. And he said, thanks, Steve, man, it was really good. I said, man, you want to go have dinner tonight? He said, yeah, but I only eat meat with horns. I said, great. So we went to dinner, and then every show, he judged about 4 or 5 cards, and after every card, I made sure I went and had dinner with Gene LaBelle. And it was fun, good stories. I mean, I just kept my mouth shut and let him talk, and he had a lot to say. But
that story, he's got a story with Bruce Lee.
Yeah, he told me the stories about Bruce Lee. He told me about stories about frickin' that one actor that makes all those beat 'em up movies, Steven Seagal, because he was a movie extra for years and years. That's how he made his money. A stuntman. So he did motorcycle stunts, martial arts stunts, all these different stunts. So he had so many good stories, and I just fucking tell me them, It's so badass, And hung out with him. I only got one picture with him, but everything I got is in my fucking head,
But isn't there a story about Joe picking up Bruce Lee?
No, yeah, he picked Bruce Lee up because he was doing some stunt work in the Green Hornet, which the studio burned down, so they lost all the footage of all the Green Hornets, which really sucks. It was a series that was on TV. But anyway, he was going to be one of the guys getting beat up in one of the scenes. So the martial arts community was pretty tight back in them days, you know. So Gene had heard about Bruce Lee and, you know, So he goes in there, and everybody introduces Bruce. Hey, this is Gene LaBelle, you know, and it's Bruce Lee. And Gene said, well, I looked at him and he was like really small, so I just frickin' picked him up over my head and I ran down the hallway and he was kicking. He said, put me down, put me down, put me down. He said, I turned around and I ran back. He says, and I stopped. I said, I don't want to put you down because you're going to beat me up. He said, I won't beat you up. So he put him down. And then they started training together a little bit. And he taught him a couple arm bars and stuff like that. And that's probably where he got the move in Enter the Dragon, where he, in the very beginning of it, where he, you know, knocks a guy and then does the arm bar. So Bruce was always looking, he was all about whatever works for you, you know, take it from wherever it comes.
So would you say Bruce Lee's the godfather of MMA?
No, Gene LaBelle is.
And Gene LaBelle?
Yeah. Gene LaBelle's the first one that ever did. And Bruce Lee never fought any kind of super competitive shit. Or Gene LaBelle fought in tons of judo matches and no hold bars type of shit. But then what happened is there was this boxer at the time called something Savage, and they wanted to put together a fight in Utah where a martial artist fought this boxer. So Gene said, well, I'll fucking do it. And so they did, and the guy tried to put all kinds of rules on Gene, and Gene said, well, are we gonna fight or not? You know, what the fuck? So then they did the fight, and Gene fucking choked him out. And that was the first true MMA fight. And you know, Gene was just like any of the Gracies. He would fucking fight anybody, you know? There was a lot of tough people in LA during that time, you know? Even Cecil Peoples. And, you know, Chuck Norris was up and coming. He was a 3-time national points karate champion and did some kickboxing.
Did you ever meet Muhammad Ali?
No. And then he started training with Machado Brothers and Jiu-Jitsu. So he was always trying to improve, and all these famous martial artists would come to, and he had the ability to go. He actually opened them a gym. He said, fuck man, you guys are badass, I'm gonna open you a gym, because he had money, you know? And he opened up a jiu-jitsu gym, and then he got to train there and learn off them, and eventually earned a black belt in Machado jiu-jitsu. And of course Gene LaBelle was all around there at that time, but he worked with Geico. Anyway, could have went and trained with those guys, but it was a real fucking tough gym. I was really scared about it back then. But and then I just met him a couple weeks ago. He's a judge now. I'd never met him, you know, I only knew Gene, but this what's his name? Gatto? Is Gene's partner, and they had the gym together. So he trained all the Armenian fighters, Carl Parisian, and all those guys. He's a judge. How's it going, man? But I never, maybe sometime I'll go have dinner with him or something. It'd be kind of cool, you know? Because he's kind of a legend. But yeah, one time I went and had dinner with frickin', when I was in boxing, my friend he's a mobster from, where the hell was he from? Norway. And he had a ship, and he would tow submarines full of cigarettes and whiskey to Russia.
No way.
Yeah.
Was there?
So he said if I got in trouble and I'm being foul, I just cut it loose and it goes away. You know.
What's his name?
His name was. Fuck, I can't remember his name. I'm friends with him on Facebook now. He's super old now though, but.
Who do you know him through?
I trained his fighters. He was a trainer. I met him at the boxing gym, and
Through Gene LaBelle?
no,
Who-
I met him at the boxing gym. He came in with his fighter. He's from Norway, and I'm just a nice guy. I like to talk to people, and I learned about him. And he says, "Yeah, man, I could use some help a little bit here and there." So I say, "Yeah, cool." So he had a professional fighter, and I had a professional fighter. So I started hanging out with him. I can't remember why, but oh yeah, that I was learning off him. He was a good trainer, and he got me to all the big fights as a photographer for Norwegian magazine, right? So I was like freaking front row at. I was a photographer for like Sugar Ray Leonard Hagler fight, big huge fucking fights, man. And like I'm a friend with a photographer on Facebook, and she's like all happy that she got to even get to go to those fights. I'm thinking, fuck, how did I get into these fights? You know, it's like crazy. So I took all the pictures, and he sold the pictures to the magazine. Probably I didn't get shit, but I got to go to the fight, and I was taking pictures. Fucking a photographer, ringside photographer, funniest thing ever that I think about it. But
You know what? You had a GTO when you were a kid?
yeah,
Blue GTO?
yeah, what?
What? Kent bought that for you?
Yeah. So I saw the car, his friend had it. I said, "Yeah, Dad, that's a really cool car."
Was the GTO like
Yeah,
what year?
it's 67 GTO.
A blue GTO.
Yeah, and so anyway, and then I was like 13, 14, I was still riding my dirt bike. That's a really cool car. And then anyway, his friend got transferred to another country or whatever. He was in the Air Force. So he asked my dad if he wanted to buy it. And so my dad bought it and then gave it to me on my 16th birthday. So it was badass. I didn't realize it at the time, but it was badass. And
You used to street race
then I
it?
had to go get a fucking job.
You ever drag race it a little bit?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't stupid, you know. I didn't put
You
big
ever
ass
get
tires
pulled
on
over
it.
or what?
I kept it all stock.
You ever get caught?
Kept it all stock. Kept the stock tire sizes and shit. I didn't get all fucking crazy with big old tires and shit. And yeah, I did get caught. I was racing the GTX down our drag strip by my house and I got busted. This cop said all I saw was a bunch of smoke and all I saw was a blue streak and a bunch of smoke. So the bunch of smoke was from the GTX I was beating. He said, so I came after the winner. I said, well, that sucks. And he let me go. I couldn't fucking believe it.
And what?
Well, you know, it's a cool cop. It definitely left a better impression on me than if they would have gave me a ticket.
Right. And what, you sold it? How much you sell it for? $1,000 bucks?
No, that really bummed me out. I started asking like, I think my dad paid $400 for it, and then it started to go up in value because of the car that it was, but it got wrecked. A lady ran into me with a big old huge truck and totaled out the whole front of the car. And it had to be repaired, so it was making a bunch of noise and I was all bummed out and was starting to have some issues. Alright, I was asking 15 for it and then I lowered it to 11. Some guy pulls up in a Corvette, gets out of the car and says, "Here you go, man." I said, "Well, do you want to hear it run or anything?" "No, man, I'm good. Got the keys, got the title, boom, got in, drove away."
$1,000.
Yeah.
For
And I
your
waited
blue
like a
GTO.
month. It was 1100.
1,100?
Yeah.
Wow.
But this was like 1978,
Wow.
76.
And it was a 67 GTO.
The car was only 11, 12 years old, you know?
Yeah.
It was just another car that was 11 or 12 years old at the time. It wasn't going into that fucking badass cars of the 70s type of shit, 60s and 70s. And like I said, I got bummed out because it got wrecked. And then I bought a Volkswagen because I met Ted, my friend, my off-road buddies down the street.
That's who we used to go to Dumont with, right? Ted?
Yeah. So I bought a 64 Volkswagen and fixed it all up, made it a Baja, thrashed the shit out of it. Had a good time though. And then bought another Volkswagen and I was gonna make a street bug out of it. And that's about when I met Mom. Yeah.
All right, dude. Well,